And thank you all for coming early. And I was just kidding, it really wasn't an April Fool's joke that we had an early meeting today. But thank you all for coming at this early time. We've got several events going on today, so we're trying to give everybody the opportunities to go to these different events. So that's why we moved the meeting up today. But we'll start today with our invocation, and that will be, since the prayer and pledge be led by Pastor Ricky Ricks from Gregton United Methodist Church. Would you please stand?
Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for our city and for all its people. We thank you for its leaders and those who seek to bring the best for all of us. So it is that we pray your wisdom this afternoon. We pray your wisdom to guide these discussions, deliberations, and that all of us work together to build a better community, a better world, to the glory of your kingdom. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Will you please join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor, for being here. Okay, items of, we have citizen comment. First card we have is from Donna K. Bush.
Good evening. I'm sorry, this is my first time here. Can you kind of explain how I know what time, when my time is over?
This thing will start screaming and the little man jumps out. but you won't be able to see it. No, just go ahead. That thing will squawk a little bit, but we'll let you know. Go ahead.
Okay. To the Longview City Council and honored guests today, thank you for this momentous occasion to address the Longview City Council regarding my impending concerns. My name is Donna K. Bush of Donna K. Bush Ministries and Donna K. Bush Enterprise and Diamond Praise Music. The ministry is a nonprofit organization established to empower, educate, and enrich the lives of people. Donna K. Bush Enterprise is a LLC established for consulting, philanthropy, motivational speaking, travel, and more. Lastly, Diamond, D-I-A-M-O-N-D, Praise, P-R-A-I-Z, Music, is established for the music industry, developing new artists, and fashion and luxury. The beautiful depicted legacy of the Harlem Renaissance period and great leaders of America have strived to impute greatness, honor, and integrity. They have painted an elusive picture of being relentless, discipline, and hard work equals success, based on the substance of a man or a woman. As I have encountered various situations by visiting Longview, I am gravely concerned. I'm currently concerned about some of the social community development of our youth, the promotion of education in the area, as well as fun and social cohesive development in the area. Immensely, it would be great to create a new community or enhance the community with community development, enhancing social events that are available for our children, as well as recreational events as well, like an aquarium, a planetarium, or even a science place. It is a vicarious vision to create social areas to expand and promote equality, luxury for the people, and for the development of the people who reside here in Longview. This is an opportunity not only to harness greatness, but harness greatness for all of Longview. The southern sector of Longview needs more cultural development and economic empowerment. A lot of black businesses in that area need a little help, maybe some tax exemptions and other things, and maybe some educational things to enhance that particular area. Along I-20 is a prominent and great area to stimulate commercial and commercial capitalism within the area. This would help the economy with establishing more jobs for people in the area, and also create, enhance the,
All right, excuse me 1 second. Give us an idea how much more time you need. Your first.
like 5 minutes, like take a minute.
1 minute's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
And also enhance the lives of the people in that particular area. This could actually allow us to harness brilliant commercial real estate investors, as well as development of enterprise along the freeway to grasp and acquire the attention of lucrative visitors. It can harness equality for franchises looking in the area, businesses, as well as high-quality retired patrons. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, thank you, ma'am, for being here. Sheila Ann Maxey.
Good afternoon to the City Council, to the City Manager, and to the Mayor, and to the public citizens who are here today. My name is Sheila Ann Maxey, and I am in Councilwoman Keisha Williams' district. And I'm first going to just say something about the red light, City of Longview red light traffic things situation. I received, in December of 2013, I received a letter informing me that I had gone through a red light at the intersection of 4th Street and the Loop 281. This letter came from Hertz, and at that time, I had rented a car from Hertz. When I contacted the phone number, I called the city, and they couldn't give me any information, but told me to call the number on the letter, the 800 number, and to the camera ticket number. And I called that number, and I spoke with the person at that location, at that number, and they could not substantiate that I was actually the driver of the car, okay, at the time. And they told me that City of Longview or Hertz did not substantiate that information. Well, when I started to do my investigation on it, I kind of thought about it and decided to pull up some information on it. And at that location, they did tell me, I received the letter was sent out on November the 18th, and then it told me to respond with payment, nothing to substantiate that I had actually done this. Then when I tried to retrieve the information, it said that there was no ticket available, that it was the electronic ticket. And as I stated, they sent the letter out. The letter was dated November the 18th, and it was, they told me to make a payment by the 21st if I was gonna mail it in, and that I had to respond by a certain date. Well, I didn't receive the letter until the 23rd, okay, of November. But anyway, when I did my investigation, there, at that time, and my last time at that location, there is not even a light, a camera ticket system, even at that intersection going north on 4th. Okay, so my concern is that they took $100 from my account, and there's no camera ticket light even there at that location. So I'm saying either that they did some video editing to make it appear that I ran a light, and also there were 2 cars at the location on the information that I looked at on the website. There were 2 cars, one in one lane and one in the other lane. The cars looked similar. One was turning and then one was going straight. So there are a lot of discrepancies regarding the camera ticket situation based on my own experience. And I am at this time trying to go forward so that I can retrieve my money, to get my money back that they took from me, because they really never really sent me anything, just sent me a letter telling me I need to pay something, and there was no documentation there. And like I say, when I went to the website for a copy of the ticket, it says, sorry, it was an electronic ticket. Well, if you're gonna charge me with the crime of committing a crime, then you need to produce some documentation to me before you take money from my bank account. And that's just bottom line. The other issue that I wanted to bring up is regarding, on the agenda, items number A, items number D, items number I, and item number R through N. I think I had stated on my card just L and M. And the reason I'm referring to these additional ones is because I see a pattern within the city of Longview, okay, that it seems to me, based on information that I see from time to time in the newspaper, I don't take the paper, but from time to time I pick it up. And that's how I ended up here at this meeting today. I picked up a paper yesterday and saw this stuff about the camera. It appears that there seems to be a shift taking place within the city of Longview's government. It appears that the shift is to strip the council of its power, okay, as a manager council form of government, giving others authority over the council. And as I stated, this is a manager council form of government, and the council is the legislative body within the city of Longview that makes the decisions. And I see things happening within the city of Longview's government that is shifting that power. And that's all I have to say, and thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Right on time. Okay, Mr. Jeremiah Hunter.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Jeremiah Hunter. I live at 314 East Twilight Drive. I'm in Mr. John Sims' district. I just wanted to very quickly stand up, just as a citizen of Longview. I'm not representing any organization or business. I just wanted to speak in support of the resolution in the action items to support the lifting of the ban on export of crude oil and the expediting of natural gas exports. I do work in the oil and gas industry, and so I'm wholeheartedly in support of these resolutions, and I just wanted to speak in favor of those resolutions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for being here.
Now see the governor's helping.
Yeah. Mike Casson? Yes, sir. Were you here to speak on action item L? And, sir, did you want to speak?
On the action item L, correct?
Oh, action item, okay. We don't have an action item L. We have, you talking about the red light cameras? Okay, come on up here and give us your name and your address, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you for listening to me, Mayor, council members. Mike Casson, I live in White Oak. My family's been there since 1988. We're not one of your voters. But we do spend our money in Longview, shop, dine, go to church. And when I was working, I'm retired now. I worked in Longview, had a couple offices here over a 20-year period. Currently, I'm doing volunteer work also based in Longview. So that's me. As far as full disclosure, I've not been cited by a red light camera. I do have a member of the family that has been cited by the red light camera, and so you know where I'm coming from, okay? My concern is integrity with the program, and before you vote on this, I'm asking you to check the integrity of the program. I'm not going to name names, but I have seen city-marked vehicles do slow rolls through right turn on red after stop, and they're city-marked vehicles with people that are wearing city uniforms, and I have to assume they're city employees. So the question is in your investigation of the program, are city vehicles and their drivers being cited through the red light program? And if you don't have the answer to that question, don't vote for this program.
Just give me just a second. You're shaking your head. They do.
They do.
We do.
Who pays for them?
The city,
The driver?
yes.
Okay. Good, I just wanted to,
Good
so that
answer.
we answered that question.
Okay, thank you. Well, that answers that. As far as police department having support for this program, they are our neighbors, our friends, our brothers, our sisters, family members, husbands, wives, domestic partners. They're having to go out and make this dramatic input with people via citing them as a result of a violation. And I'm not here to speak for the city, but if they had a choice of having a big eyeball and somebody in Phoenix doing all this drama, it would be easier for them that they could focus on other aspects of their job. So I can see the city police department coming out saying we're in favor of this program. And it might be more for personal reasons than other reasons. As far as statistics, you know, the newspaper showing 0.02% of the vehicles going through some vehicle or some intersection is receiving citations. It's a pretty impressive statistic. I personally believe statistics can be worked either way. I'd say 100% of the people who are receiving citations are annoyed by it. So 100%, 0.02%. You can play for statistics all you want to. And finally, as far as finances, we're paying, what, $5,000 times 12 cameras, $60,000 a month, $300,000 a year, essentially to annoy the residents of the city of Longview, in my opinion. Can be done cheaper. Just go out and dig some potholes on Highway 80.
Yeah.
Thanks for your
We
time.
don't have to dig them. Mike, thank you for being here.
Thanks for your time.
We hear what you're saying, bud.
Very good.
Appreciate it. Okay, that's all the speaker cards I have. Let's go to presentation items. Presentation item for the proclamation commemorating Colors of Courage benefiting the East Texas Lupus Autoimmune and Invisible Disease Organization. Tamara Pipkin. Here she is. Come on up here. Come up to the front.
To the front. I get to
Now, this is gonna be special.
Is it?
Yeah, they said that you can sing.
I can sing.
Come on. You're gonna sing this whole thing.
Okay.
Now,
Hey, I'm all for trying.
I wanna see if you're in for the cause. That's the main
I'm
thing.
all for trying.
All
That's my
right,
thing.
all right. We're gonna do it the right way, though. I'm not gonna do that to you. I did go to Dr. Day and sang to them people. I sure did. All right. It's the Lupus Autoimmune and Invisible Disease Awareness Colors of Courage Rally and Fun Run. And just for the record, I have family members that have had lupus, so I completely feel for you and feel the pain. So lupus is one of many disorders of the immune system known as autoimmune disease. It's a chronic autoimmune disease in which a person's immune system mistakenly attacks healthy tissues, cells, and organs. Symptoms of lupus are unpredictable, ranging from extreme fatigue, skin rashes, severe joint inflammation, and muscle pain to organ failure and even death. At present, there's no cure for lupus, and the exact cause of lupus is unknown. However, research suggests it is caused by a combination of genetic and environmental factors. It's estimated 1.5 million Americans suffer from lupus, more people than suffer diseases such as leukemia, cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, and cystic fibrosis combined. Invisible diseases are those that are not always obvious, but are indeed important as people are suffering from them daily. Diseases such as multiple sclerosis, post-traumatic stress disorder, Lou Gehrig's disease, sickle cell, autism, Alzheimer's, and others. These diseases, just like lupus and autoimmune disease, they have no cure. So therefore, I, Jay Dean, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Longview, hereby proclaim March 28th as East Texas Lupus Autoimmune and Invisible Disease Awareness Day in the city of Longview. Okay? Sure.
I'm gonna take too long. Go take a picture with the mayor. I just want to say something real quick. The city of Longview has backed us up from the very beginning with this rally, with this cause. This cause is something that affects each and every one of you, or a friend of yours, or somebody that may have passed from it. These diseases are diseases that kill but you can't tell that these people may be sick. I myself have lupus, I have heart disease, I have a pacemaker, and I have thyroid cancer. But you can't tell looking at me I have all that, because I'm gonna keep on stepping until I'm told to sit down. But not to take up too much of your time, but to make y'all aware that y'all will see me at a lot of the meetings, at a lot of events. You'll be able to come to some of the events. The event is this Saturday that we're having at Broughton Park. It is a full day. Full day. Oh, it starts at 7:30 with the walk, and we have a memorial wall, and we're sending balloon releases. And the best part is, oh yeah, we got Divine Catering.
What you got?
Divine Catering.
Oh,
So y'all need to come on out there and get your turkey leg, because Divine Catering, that's the food right there. We got some snow cones. We got the best thing that I really am having a good time about is that Dr. Mack has enabled himself to, with his busy schedule, to come out and talk about dental health and what it can do for your body, what it can do and what it can damage if you don't have good dental health. And we got the girls playing football, the boys playing football, and the men playing football. So I just want all y'all to just give it a chance to come out and see what it's all about. But you will see me more, because I plan on doing more for the community.
Okay.
I plan on it's not just for the patients, but you also have to realize the patients' families are dealing with this too. So we have to take care of the whole family unit, and that means our community.
all right, we're holding you to it now.
That's good, because I didn't want that thing to come up.
That thing will go buzz on you. That little man gonna jump up. Hey, make sure Divine brings some of that pie.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure they got that pie. Okay. I told y'all she could sing.
I'm gonna sing next time.
Okay. Okay, next is the presentation of the fiscal year 2013-2014 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report by Henry and Peters.
Good afternoon. I'm Adrienne Deason. I'm a partner with Henry & Peters, and I'm here this afternoon to present to you our audit of the financial statements of the City of Longview as of 9/30/2014. I've left two documents for you. One of them is your copy of the audited financial statements, and the other one is a letter. It's on our letterhead. Everybody got it?
Yep, got it.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's okay. The other one is a letter on our letterhead, and it summarizes for you items that we as auditors are required to communicate by auditing standards with those of you that are charged with governance of the city. To be brief, the letter includes items such as changes in accounting policies during the year. It includes the significant estimates that are in your financial statements, the audit adjustments that we made, and also the immaterial ones that we passed on. And if we had had any difficulties in performing the audit, and if we'd had any findings, they would be in there as well. I think that you will be pleased to hear that we do not have any findings to report to you this year as a result of our audit. So rather than thumb through that comprehensive document, I see nods, thank you, okay. Rather than do that, I wanted to just take a minute to talk to you about the audit process itself and what we go through in order to perform the audit and to provide those opinions. When you engage Henry & Peters to perform the audit, you're asking us for our opinions as to whether the financial statements that are provided by your finance department are materially correct. And because the city receives a significant amount of federal funding, you're also asking us if those grant programs appear to be in compliance with those grant regulations. So in order to fulfill your requests, we had a team of 5 auditors this year. We started our planning in November, and we started our field work in December on the grant audits. Now, planning the grant audit entails requesting a list of all the funding from the finance department. We analyze that list and we determine what grants we're going to audit each year. This year we selected the Section 8 program and also the Shelter Plus program, both administered by the Public Housing Department. I had 2 auditors that spent approximately 2 weeks in the Housing Department auditing those 2 grants. And then in January, our team of 5 began working in the city offices on the financial statement audit. We spent approximately 4 weeks gathering evidence during that 4-week time period, gathering evidence that the financial data that the Finance Department had provided was materially correct. The result of all of that is our opinion. And we've issued our opinion. We've issued an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion, that the financial statements are materially correct. And further, as a result of an audit in compliance with government auditing standards, we've also issued our opinion that the grant programs that we audited appear to be in compliance with their compliance requirements. And we did not find any significant deficiencies in those grant programs related to internal controls. Finally, we issued our letter that we did not identify any significant deficiencies of the internal controls around the financial reporting process. And we also did not identify any non-compliance with significant laws, regulations, and agreements. So that, in a nutshell, is the process that we go through in order to perform the audit and to give you our opinions. And in conclusion, I just want to say that when you do take the time to go through that comprehensive document, there's one thing that I think that might be of interest to you, and that's the government-wide financial statements. Those statements start on page 14, and those statements are a big picture look at the city's financial position. Those statements are on a basis of accounting that most corporate businesses use, and those financial statements and that balance sheet more closely resembles a corporate financial statement, which most people are accustomed to looking at. So that presentation is unique to this set of financial statements, and it's not information that you get on an ongoing basis, which is why I felt like it might be of interest to you. So I want to thank the council on behalf of myself, all of my partners at Henry & Peters for entrusting us again this year to provide this audit. And I want to thank city staff for all of their assistance as we went through this process, and especially the finance department, because they are very accommodating as we go through this. And so for that, I'm truly appreciative. So thank you.
Okay, any questions, comments?
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your very thorough report. And I'd just like to say to staff, housing department specifically, having your grants audited, good job on a clean bill of health or a clean slate to Dietrich, and I know Martell Armstrong and Shativa Marshall. I'm sorry, I just lost my words. I started laughing. But anyway, congratulations to staff for that as well.
Okay, anybody else? Yes, sir, go ahead.
Kudos to the finance department too, Angela. You and your folks do a fabulous job. Real proud of what you do.
Okay, just for the public, this is really important because the amount of oversight on some of the, especially federal grants, et cetera, it's a tremendous load, and to be able to have a clean bill on those particular dollars is strong, and I want to commend our staff for that. That's very, very important. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, consent agenda. Council, is there any item besides item L that council like to pull for separate consideration?
Jay, I actually did want to pull M just to comment on
M,
it. Yeah.
okay. All right, we'll pull L and M. Anything else?
M or N?
M.
M like Mike?
Mike?
M is the appointments, yeah.
Okay,
That one.
okay. Any other item?
Move to approve.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
And a second to approve everything but items L and M. May I have a motion, a second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Okay, let's go to item M first. I know it's kind of.
Yeah, that was easier.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted to comment, item M is the approval of appointments to the committees and boards in the city, and Richard and I served as your committee for making those appointments, and I just wanted to thank all of our citizens. We had over 70 applications to consider. We had really wonderful, qualified applicants that are interested in serving the city, so that was my first time to do it. It was really exciting to see that level of participation, but we only had about 25 spots to fill. So please know, if you were not selected this time, do not be discouraged. Please continue to try and serve in that capacity. Those boards and commissions are really important, and we appreciate your support and your commitment to being involved and willingness to volunteer. So that's all I want to say about it.
Yes, sir.
This is my second year, and I just want to thank Kristen. You're a whole lot easier to work with than Sydney.
Wait a minute.
Well, you know, the thing is too, for the people that maybe didn't get selected this time, the protocol is the older applications are considered first. So if you didn't get called this time, it's probably due to the fact that maybe the application wasn't in as compared to some others. But, you know, with even 70, that's still not enough, because there are a lot of boards and commissions to be considered. So please take the time. You can go to our website, but please fill out those applications. We need good quality
I'm
people at
sorry,
all
I have one
times.
more thing I
Yes,
wanna say
ma'am.
about
Go
that.
ahead.
One other thing that we had discussed there was adding 2 more members to the Animal Shelter Advisory Committee. We're appointing some new members tonight, but part of the Mayor's Task Force several years ago, out of that recommendation came adding some members to that. So I think we're going to consider that in April, and we'll have to be approved by
Okay.
council. So just want
Okay.
to make you aware.
Good. Okay, item L, let me, I want to kind of start that off. When red light cameras were first considered by the city council, I'm saying roughly 10 years ago. I think it might have been at the beginning of my journey here. Yes, sir? Did you look like you want to say something?
We need to vote on item M.
Oh, I move to approve item M.
I thought I already had that. In a second, I'll face aye.
Thanks, Jim.
Don't want you get you riled up over there, Mr. Fenley. Look at him. I know when he's got that look and his head gets red, I know I'm in trouble. Okay, we're good. Thank you, Jim. But I think it was roughly 10 years ago. I don't know if, Jim, 2006, 9 years ago. When that was brought to the council, there was primarily 2 things that council considered. The first thing was a lot of I don't think anybody in this room or anybody watching cannot say that they don't see people running red lights in the city of Longview every day. I won't believe that. I see them. We all see them, okay? The first issue we were dealing with was a lot of times our motorcycle police officers at some of these busy intersections would see the red light runner and trying to get into the flow of traffic or turned around to go after, the red light runners was a very dangerous, perspective. I mean, it was dangerous for the motorcycle police officers. So we were trying to maybe, from a public safety position, protect them. The other thing was we have had a large number of T-bone type accidents. And one of the considerations that was discussed at this time when we adopted this was we were trying to slow down, reduce the number of the T-bone incidents, because in many cases, that's where a lot of our traffic fatalities came from. So the money part of the deal was never really the consideration point, because as been reported and as mentioned here this afternoon, we had to get to a certain amount of dollars per camera before it ever paid the city a dime. Now, today, the city, I think the number is $192,000 last year. That money goes to public safety programs and to the same very motorcycle police officers. Some of that money is used to replace the motorcycles, so we want to make sure we get the information there. My concern is, yes, I've had a lot of people, I've gotten the red light deals too. My picture, everything is noted, that's me. Okay, and I paid my 75. Somebody said they paid 100. We need to check and see, because mine was 75. But anyhow, I think that's right. Okay, anyway. But, you paid too, huh? Tell the truth and set you free up here, brother. But it wasn't a money deal. It was about, like I said, the patrol officers and the T-bone accidents. And I asked, when we first got the agenda, to get us data on, at these intersections, what I guess how many wrecks had been occurring at these intersections before the red light camera and then after. Now that we've got 9 years of data, we ought to be able to see, what has been the impact from an accident perspective. The other thing I personally wanted to see was, okay, it was about T-bone accidents. What was the reduction at those intersections of the T-bone type accident? And we don't have that information. That's going to take more data gathering that Chief Dingler and the department's looking at. That all being said, I'm going to go on record. I'm not a proponent of red light cameras. I wasn't back then, but I support it because of those first two items. Okay, there has been almost every legislative session, there's been the cry at the legislature to the state put in, laws regulating or outlawing red light cameras. And each year they've kind of kicked the can down the road. And I personally believe that's where it really belongs, because every city ends up adopting some red light camera contract, and we're all different. And like Mr. Mike coming across the border from White Oak, I mean, we got people coming in our community, and they're not aware of all this stuff. And the first thing they know, they're getting a dadgum envelope in the mail. But personally, I'm not a big proponent of the red light camera. I think that it's gone beyond what the initial objectives were. But until I can personally see the accident rate, if that's really gone down, I would withhold my particular vote on that. But I think that red light cameras really belong as a legislative item that the state should put in place. There are issues about. There are some cities that in the Metroplex that these dollars are so big that it is a big part of their operating budget. Okay, and that's gotten a lot of people in Austin upset. There's also data out there that says they actually cause more wrecks than they prevent, because people get used to, okay, there's a camera, then they go to slowing down, and the person behind them doesn't know the camera's there. And so, I mean, we want our police officers protected, but we also have a responsibility to the public that we're not being Big Brother and being unduly unjust, if you will, by citing them. And again, like Ms. Maxey said here tonight, I mean, she doesn't believe it was right what she got. I've heard other people complain that it really wasn't me, and I tried to. I mean, and the biggest thing is if it was our department, but people are having to go to some third party, somebody to discuss their situation with, and that's now. And I'll be quiet. The police department does review. There was some misinformation that, well, our department had nothing to do with reviewing all these citations, but they do, okay? And a lot of them are thrown out, at the point that the police department looks at it and says, that's questionable, and they throw those out. So there's some number of those citations never go out. But again, for the record, I think we can do better ourselves without red light cameras, but I'm going to hold my position until, and this is me, we all going to, but I'm going to hold mine until we at least, I would like to see the T-bone accident data to see if that's really, help. I mean, and everybody sees those red light runners, blow the horn at them, call in their license, do something, but there's plenty of them out there. Okay, I'm done. Yes, ma'am.
My comments echo what the mayor stated. I'd like to go on record as saying, in its current form, I am not in support of the red light program that we have in place. We have not seen a tremendous reduction across the board, bottom line. One of the first items we voted on when I was elected as a council member had to do with the red light program and the renewal of the contract. 9 years is a very long time, and you're dealing with almost a decade. And so in its current form and not seeing the rate of return that I think that was expected, because I voted in favor of it then, although questionable, And the mayor told me this is a public safety initiative, and public safety is always first. But a lot of citizens have reached out to me, both in my district and outside of my district, and I want them to know that I've heard you, I have reviewed the numbers, and in its current form, I will not support it tonight.
Okay, yes, sir, Ms. Allen.
Reckon I can get it all in?
I bet you can.
All right. You know, it comes down to me, if you run the red light, which to me means the light turns red before you enter the intersection. Now, if any part of your vehicle is in that intersection when the light turns red, you should not get a citation. And I've got, I think I've got 3 of them that I paid.
Man, Test City doing pretty good just right up here.
And I have, with friends' help that are computer savvy, we've reviewed these on the internet, computer, however you do. I mean, it's fairly easy to do if you know how to turn the computer on and off, and which I'm a little short on. But it's a moving picture. It shows your vehicle as it enters the intersection. And the ones that I have, the 3 I got, one of them I wasn't paying attention, the other 2, I thought I'd take a chance. But I clearly was not in the intersection when it turned red. In other words, it's yellow, there's no question. It turns yellow first, then it turns red. And if you're not in the intersection when it turns red, you ran the red light.
Did you protest those tickets?
Well, I was wrong.
Oh, okay.
No, I'd like to. But another thing that people have brought up, well, maybe somebody else was driving. Well, you're still responsible for that vehicle. I mean, if that vehicle's licensed to you and you let your son drive it, or your son lets somebody else drive it, you're still responsible. If that vehicle's involved in an accident, you're carrying liability insurance on that vehicle. So you are responsible, and you can't say, well, because I wasn't driving it, I'm not responsible. Yes, you are. We all know legally that you're responsible when somebody's in your vehicle that's registered in your name. I think Jay brought up a very good point on the patrol officers previously, before we had these cameras sitting at the intersections. Right now, one of the main points we're talking about is public safety, having to do with homicides and such as that. We're a little short on officers. I don't think we need officers sitting at intersections trying to catch people running red lights when we've got, how many is it, 7 homicides so far this year in Longview. Those officers need to be out in the neighborhoods. They need to be patrolling. They need to be visiting with the people. They really don't need to be sitting at an intersection trying to catch somebody that's going at a high rate of speed down the road to give them a ticket for a red light. You know, it's one of the things that we're all guilty of is the speed limits have gone up considerably. I remember back in the times, I think it was Mr. Carter was president, we had a 55-mile-an-hour national speed limit. Now we're up to 75 miles an hour. Now, amazingly, according to the statistics, this has not led to a higher number of accidents. But driving around the loop, which we all do from time to time, I noticed yesterday and today, 60 miles an hour is not unheard of around the loop. In fact, that 55 to 60 miles an hour seems to be a pretty steady speed around the loop. Now, if you're driving around LBJ north of Dallas, you're going 70 to 80 miles an hour. And but fortunately we're a little slower than that. We all seem to be in a hurry. We all seem to have a place we're wanting to go, and we don't want to stop. In other words, if you're going 60 miles an hour, it takes you a while to stop. Well, you're going too fast anyway. But we're just, I think we're all guilty of driving faster than we should. And as Mr. Sims had a situation, when you have an accident and you're driving at that high rate of speed, you're much more likely to have a fatality or a very serious injury than you are. So if this will just slow the people down a little bit, we're all conscious of the red lights. Maybe when the people know where the intersections are, which is publicly announced, they'll slow down a little bit just because the red light cameras are there, where otherwise, I've noticed myself where there are not red light cameras, there are a lot of red lights that are run. And it seems to where there are red light cameras, people slow down and pay more attention. I kind of hate to say it, but it's one of those things, if you break the law, you should be willing to pay for what you've done, and just hope that it doesn't cause an accident where somebody's injured. It's $75. If that saves you from running into somebody and hurting somebody, which could end up in a fatality, I think the $75 is a slow amount. Now, the appeal process, I think, works. It just, it's not a, you don't just get the ticket and have to pay it. But anyway, I think it has contributed to a safer driving situation in Longview. That's it.
You got it all?
Maybe.
Yes, sir.
My name is Richard Manley, and I'm a red light runner.
Yeah.
Since full disclosure. I'd like to hear what our police chief has to say. Do you mind telling us what you'd like to see from the council, chief?
Not at all. As the mayor said, when we first put in the red light camera program, council looked at it and determined that there was, the main reason was for public safety. The money's a side thing. The city does make some money off of it, nothing great. We have 10 intersections now, 12 red light cameras at 10 different intersections. We have seen from the latest data that we have that traffic accidents in the city everywhere have gone down a small amount since 2007. There's about a 600 per month change in the number of accidents. So even without the red light cameras, accidents have started going down a little bit. I think the red light cameras, for what they're used for, brings the awareness to the public that, yes, at this intersection, that's probably a very dangerous intersection because the surveys showed that there's a lot of people that run the red lights. I think that it does help at those intersections because people know that, yes, there's a red light camera there, and if it stops someone from running a red light and injuring someone, I think it's well worth that. So it's my opinion that the public safety part probably is worth it as far as law enforcement is concerned.
Okay.
Well, let me comment on that.
Go ahead.
So as we go through this exercise, it seems to me when we look at the pros and cons of it, what I'm hearing from Chief is correct, that we did this primarily for public safety, and we have in fact realized an improvement in the public safety. So fewer accidents, whether it's 1% or 10%, and it seems to me if there's 600 fewer accidents, that's 600 fewer times police are pulled out of whatever they were doing to go deal with an accident. So that's a good thing too. So another positive to me is this is a use of technology. I mean, we all do online banking. We do so many other things that are automated now. I know I put things into place in my businesses that would reduce the amount of time that someone needed to spend in doing something. And this obviously is a use of technology that's available to us today that, from what I understand at least, is constitutionally sound. Is that true, Jim Finley?
It's been held up in the courts
It's been
so
held
far.
up in court. So while it's certainly unpopular, I mean, it is, as Sydney so eloquently said, you know, you only get the ticket if the light is red and you cross whatever that's called. What's it called, Chief? The stop bar? Yeah. The big white stripe. So, and then I also found out today from one of the officers I was riding with this afternoon that it's not just a snapshot. We may get a snapshot, but it's actually a video, and it's reviewed by, I've forgotten the officer's name, the sergeant.
Sergeant Moppus is.
Moppus, Sergeant Moppus, that's the one I've heard. And he and his department actually review every single one of these. And so, again, we're giving a ticket to someone who has clearly broken the law, whether there was a policeman standing there or there was a camera ticket. And we all believe in technology because we use it every day. This is a technology that we can use. And you know, it just all makes sense to me. The downside of it is I have one of my council members who I greatly respect who's voting against it. So I would like to, for us to consider tabling this for 2 weeks to get a little bit more information if possible. I think the T-bone number certainly is significant. We've all seen the damage that comes when someone tries to accelerate through an intersection and T-bone somebody. And certainly, I've had people call me too, Jay, and say, yeah, but the rear enders have gone up because of people hitting the brakes. So maybe.
And we don't, I
Going
mean, I
with that
haven't
is
seen
at all.
data on any of
And
that.
something Sydney said, I heard someone say today that in some other cities, there's a lot more advanced notice before the intersection to warn people, hey, there's a camera here at this intersection. And it's not just a little small sign like we have, but something that's more noticed that might, and maybe that's an idea. But anyway, I would, and I won't make my motion because I'm sure the other council members might want to say something, but I would like to consider tabling it.
Okay. This is Sharon. I'm going to come back.
I did just want to add that I think that it's a fairly simple problem. We've had the camera since 2007, and like both of you have mentioned, if there is a reduction in accidents, we have the data to support that. So let's get the data, and if there's a reduction in accidents, then we continue with them, and if there's not, we don't. So it seems fairly simple to me, and I think tabling it would be the appropriate action.
Okay.
Let me clarify one thing. It's about 600 accidents annually that it goes down, not per month.
Yeah, and actually what I'd be interested in seeing is what you're referencing, the overall reduction in accidents for the city, but then also specific to the intersections where those cameras are.
That's 50 a month, so it's a couple a day, right? So it's still significant.
Okay. Gary?
Mr. Mayor, I agree with Mr. Mayor. The changing of technology of today, I think this council had more of an issue with the contract, which was actually, they asked for a 10-year contract, which I'm in favor more of a 5-year contract for Reflex. That's the company that provides the red light service. And, but today's technology, I think it really helps us a lot for reducing accidents, especially when you know that there's a red light cam on that particular red light. But I think our discretion was here with the length of the contract.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And we did determine that contract can be, changed or ended with 90-day notice. So you might just sign a 10-year deal, but it can be stopped or anything at 90-day notice. Yes, sir.
I'm one of
Mr.
those
Sims.
misfortunate individuals that lost a very dear nephew to a T-bone about 3 years ago. I have to say that I would rather see us go ahead and vote on it today and extend it for another 5 years. I don't think we should go 10 years. But I'm not running for anything, so that's...
I heard you were running for the county line. Is that true?
Well, yeah, probably that.
Okay, I'm supportive of, and I said this, I think, of getting the additional data in. This has been a pretty controversial thing since 2006, and I understand the public's. There have been issues because of the technology with, the information and trying to get information, et cetera. And technology is great, but it isn't always perfect. But, why don't we table?
Move the table.
Okay, so move in a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, so we'll go ahead and table, and then let staff come back with, some of those statistics, so we can really look at that. And I think the public should understand in public. I mean, the people that don't get red light tickets, they're not complaining. Okay, it's the rest of us. How many you got? How many you got? Those tickets.
Hey,
Oh, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
drive too slowly. I was going home from that meeting the other day, and at the corner of H.G. Mosley and Gilmer, the light changed. I slowed down, stopped, and this son of a gun next to me in a pickup truck, boom, went right through it.
It happens. I see them every day. Did you have something else?
Oh, yes. You almost made me forget what I was going
Oh,
to
it's
say.
my fault.
Are we going to drop this on the next council, or are we going to do this before?
Well, I would, Chief, how quick, I mean, the manager and I talked today about how long it'd take to get this data together, I mean, that we're talking about.
We'll need at least 2 weeks. So if you want to put it on the next council meeting, we have to manually pull every accident report. So I would much rather.
Why don't we ask this? You and your staff give us, I mean, we're not going to put you on the spot tonight. Give us, I mean, I think you've heard what kind of info everybody's looking for. Why don't you and your staff get together and come back to the manager and say, hey, realistically, this is what it's going to take to do it. And if we can do it the meeting of the 10th, fine. If you can't, tell us when you can do it.
I'll do it.
Okay? Anything else? Okay, action items. Consider resolution in support of lifting the ban on oil, on export of crude oil. To me, this is a pretty simple deal. I mean, when we look at, and I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce locally, they've been very diligent in working around the state in getting other cities to join in the resolutions to try to get data together, or where we can get to our people in Washington, D.C., our legislative body, to talk about this. You know, and let me say, I'm in the oil and gas business too, but you know what's really strange is the people that make this piece of chocolate can send it and sell it anywhere. Why is it that the people that invest their money, spend their money to produce oil, they can't sell their product, or they're limited to sell their product? Now, you know, back in the 70s, us older people remember the oil embargo, and that was all man-made, okay? Today, why do we continue to work with 45, 50-year-old legislation that doesn't fit anymore? I mean, you know, our technology that these same E&P, oil and gas companies have spent to develop the technologies to reach oil and gas deposits like never before. Our technology has outpaced the demand probably by at least 10 years. Now we're facing a situation, just look at what's going on locally, you know, and you know, our Washington, D.C. people talk about the middle class. Who do we think that in this area, this region, are the people most affected by the $42 barrel oil and the steep drop in oil prices? And it's the middle class people, the people that are working for the service companies, the people that are working on those rigs, that are making that overtime money, that they come back into our city, our county, and they spend those hard-earned dollars. When you start taking that, I mean, we already saw last month our sales tax decrease. Just watch. Okay, it's just starting. But why, my position on this is, why won't our government, you know, allow these people that have invested in making or developing a product, why do they not get the same consideration as anybody else? And the thing is we put in place triggers that say if your supply and demand would happen to get, you know, close to where it would cause, you know, security issues for the United States, it has automatic triggers to it, so you stop it or you reduce how much you can export. But I mean, for us to continue to work by, you know, legislation that is this old at a much different time when we have all this technology, I could go on all day about this, guys, but I just don't get it. Okay, so I'm asking council to support the resolution. This is going to be sent in addition with letters that have already been sent to our legislative body to try to get some common sense going up there as best we possibly can. And I'm not holding out long odds on this, okay? But I think we have to do what we have to do to make sure they know the intent of the city of Longview. Any questions, comments?
I got a comment, Mr.
Go
Mayor.
ahead. Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to have to tell you tonight that I'm going to vote against lifting this ban on exporting oil. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Lifting the oil ban is not only a political and politician nightmare. Back in 1973, the OPEC nation put an oil embargo on this nation and brought this country to its knees. Happened then, stock prices fell, and we went into a state of recession. 1979, it happened again. Country went into a recession. Oil prices went up. Ronald Reagan said this never oil would never bring this, oil from foreign countries will never bring this country to its knees again. And that's why he put up the embargo on exporting oil, crude oil. Now, again, I can relatively remember Mr. Allen and Ms. Finn maybe tell you what happened back in '73 with, oil prices and
What about me?
at the pump and
You don't think I'm
and,
not?
and people lining up at the pump waiting
Yeah,
to
I
get
was
gas. So, and that affected me also. Back in 2008, we all can remember the gas prices were $4 a gallon, $130 per barrel for oil. Country went into a recession. Mr. Mayor, we're expecting to go into recession in the next 3 years, in 2018, 2019. So it's probably going to happen again. What I would hate to happen in this country to the American people is to be actually put under another embargo because number one, Russia is the biggest oil producer, and Saudi Arabia is 2, and the United States is number 3. And that's based on some statistics I read from the Huffington Post. And I just don't want to have to get into a situation, Mr. Mayor, where there is another embargo, because you can use that against a country to get control. And that's kind of what happened.
That's your position.
If that's my position, that's correct.
The problem with the embargo is Saudi Arabia is playing us like a bunch of fools, and these types of moves that we could make would get them to the bargaining table too, okay?
Right,
and that's exactly what they want to do. But I
let me say
appreciate the
this too,
position.
that the oil industry only employs 2% of this whole state of Texas. It only accounts for 2%. The rest of it is going to be in Medicare, not Medicare, but the health industry. That's what the majority of the jobs are. So at this time, I'm going to have to vote against this particular
Just one more
ban.
statistic I want you to go look up. Who do you think's buying the computers? Who do you think's buying the cars? Who do you think's able to provide the great insurance programs? You better go look at that number closely.
And that's all good, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
And I can massage that into my head.
Yeah, okay.
But what I don't want is the American people, or the people of the city of Longview, to have to be back to $3.89, $4 a gallon. I don't know about you, my gas bill with 2 cars is like almost $800 a month.
Well, you got such fancy cars. They got those gas guzzles. Those anyway.
But that's going to be my
We
reason
appreciate
for
it. We
voting
appreciate it,
against that
Gary. All right.
particular-
Anybody else have anything? Yes, sir.
The question that I've always been a little hard to understand is why we're limiting the exports, but we're continuing to import oil. They say the tanks are filling up and the reserves are filling up. And Jay, you're in the business. I don't understand why if we've got all this oil available, why do we continue to pay these foreign countries and buy their oil? Maybe you could explain that.
At $10 a barrel higher than what our domestic producers. Our domestic producers are penalized right now $10 a barrel. So, and the oil embargo, I was in line, matter of fact, with my 63 Ford Fairlane with 200,000 miles on it at LSU. And let me tell you something. Back then, we didn't have the technology. Okay, this country, the last time our technology was able to really support us was back in World War II, when, thank God, we were able to produce the way we could. Today, we are producing more, okay? And the other key to this is in those shale plays, they're only producing, when they drill that well and do that horizontal kick and they fracture, they're getting about 5% of the oil. So today you're hearing about refract. The technology continues to improve. The old standard well that they drilled were lucky if they got 20% of the oil reserve back up to the surface. So Gary, the technology anymore is such that that's not going to change the you look at right now, who are the people that are most against the lifting the oil ban? The refiners, because they don't want to lose their edge, their spread between what they're paying and what they're selling you gas for. Have you seen your gas go down proportionally the way oil overall price has gone down? No. So I respect, what you're saying, but anyhow. Okay. Yes, sir. You had something else?
Yeah, but my question, Mr. Mayor, is can our refiners actually process the sweet crude that we're producing out in West Texas? Because it's of a lighter grade than a crude oil from...
Absolutely. They can. And most of them are actually converting over from the old hard crude like the oil sands coming out of Canada.
Okay.
They're already doing that. But they don't want to give up their margin, and they're the largest lobby in Washington, D.C. fighting this. Okay, so, yes, sir.
One thing, now Gary, you made a very good point, but one thing that I remember very well back in the 70s, and I'm going to be a little politically incorrect, when Jimmy Carter was president, this area of Texas, in fact, Texas itself, when the politicians got involved and they decided there was such a thing as new oil and old oil, and most of you younger people don't know what that means, we had a two-price structure. If you went out here and drilled a new well right next to an old well, you got more money, and the guy on the old well got less money. And if he drilled into your pipe, he still got less money. If you drilled into his pipe, you got his old oil and you sold it at a new price. It was one hell of a mess. When the politicians start running the oil industry, you're going to have one big mess. We need to open it up.
Right. Okay. Any other comments? If not, may I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Item B, consider resolution supporting expediting natural gas exports. This is somewhat the same, although natural gas is already being exported in the form of LNG. But basically what this is saying that the process for permitting that is really skewed, okay? And it's kind of like what Sydney said. I mean, with the system they have today, it's almost a who's who that actually gets the permit to export or not. Again, these people deserve a fair trade system that allows them to export their product, and I don't have a lot more to say than that. Anybody else? Send me quick.
All right. Now, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to say I like this one. I'm going to vote yay on this one. I like natural gas.
All right, so you making a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, I got a motion. Second, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion passed. Thank you, Gary. Okay, items of community interest.
Pass.
Put me on the spot. Let's see here.
Okay,
I'm
Mr.
saving
Gary.
it up for the last meeting.
Oh, man, we're not gonna have enough time for that.
First of all, Mr. Mayor, I want to thank East Texas Christian School for their letters and support a couple of weeks ago. Second, I went out to the Gregg County Extension Center. They have a leadership advisory program which they helping high school students with their scholarship program, how to write scholarships, and they also give some free scholarships away. It may not be but $1,000, but $1,000 is $1,000. Thank you a lot, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Ms. Cash?
Had an opportunity to volunteer in place of our mayor, who asked me to go for Meals on Wheels. It's a great program, and they do a lot of work in our community, feeding hungry people. Want to encourage citizens to donate to our local Meals on Wheels ministry, volunteer as well. And also, Mr. Yakeley, with Volunteer Appreciation Month coming up, that would be a worthwhile story, because I think a lot of times we forget about some of our more localized charities, and they do need volunteers again. April the 4th, Stop the Violence Rally, No Jesus, No Peace. Saturday, April the 4th, 3 to 5 p.m., there will be a prayer march beginning at Bethel Temple and ending at Broughton Park. And there will be families who have been affected by violence in some form or another. There will be a variety of speakers. Join with this community group. This is a grassroots effort, and I know our local police department, thank you, is supporting this as well. Join with us, and a lot of our council will be there. Doesn't matter where you live in Longview, please come out and support this event as well, because this is important. I wonder if somebody texting me something they'd like for me to say. No, but anyway.
Technology.
I know, technology. Well, we need some different cameras. Okay. Anyway, moving on. I digress. Last but not least, I need to give a big shout out to Public Works and Mr. Rollin McPhee. Rollin, are you here somewhere? He's not here, he's probably working, because we have been hugely affected by potholes in our city. For those citizens who don't know and who are complaining, our eyes cannot be everywhere. We're running 3 trucks right now. We had one down, I believe it's back up and going to patch the potholes. If you have a pothole situation, please call Public Works and they will make haste to get out there and fix it immediately. And again, thank you, Rollin, who is the Director of Public Works, and their staff for all you're doing to ensure that people don't bust their front ends. So, thank you.
All right, call on the Pothole Patrol. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I have one. Just wanted to make everyone aware and remind them that our annual fundraiser for CASA, Blue Jeans and Ball Gowns, is coming up on Saturday evening at Mod Cobb. We will have a celebrity dance competition, which includes some of our local celebrities and some celebrity judges. Thank you, Richard and Kasha, for volunteering. It's a lot of fun, and of course, it supports a really great cause. CASA is court-appointed special advocates, which provides a trained volunteer to speak as the voice for a child that's been removed from their home for abuse or neglect and in our CPS system. So it's a worthy cause. I hope you will come out and support it. You can buy tickets at the door. I will check you in and shake your hand and thank you for being there. So please come join us.
Good deal. Mr. Richard?
I do have one. I'm probably going to embarrass him by pointing out, but Carlos Samples is out in the audience today. He was promoted to assistant chief this week. I think you have 2 more sergeants and 2 lieutenants you're promoting tomorrow. The reason why I wanted to recognize, in addition to the promotion, is there's been a lot of talk about our crime problem and what we're doing, what our police force is doing. And if you want to know that it starts at the top, one of the things I heard from Carlos the other day after his promotion was this. He said, I'll know that we've arrived with regard to our community policing. You remember saying this? When our citizens can see an officer and say, there goes Greg, or there goes Sue. And so that's the kind of leadership we have at the top of our police department, and y'all do a fine job.
Okay. Mr. Allen?
Okay, yes, sir. I want to say thank you for the large number of applicants we had on the different board and commissions that were interested in voluntarily participating in the City of Longview and the management. This is a wonderful thing. We really appreciate the people from Longview being anxious to serve on these boards. Now, the way I understand it, you can actually do this on the internet. I hope that's correct. All right. I would advise you, please, if you're computer savvy, do it that way. But after you do it, call the city manager's office and talk to Robin or somebody there and make sure that your application was received and is put in the file. Because we have had people before that would call in and say, well, how come you didn't consider me for one of these? And we said, well, we can't find the application, or we missed it or something. So if you want it, however you do it, call please, and make sure that your application is here in the office. And again, I just want to say thank you for the participation by the citizens in these different boards. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. City of Longview offices closed Friday, April 3rd in observance of Good Friday. The library will close Friday, April 3rd through Sunday, April 5th. However, Longview Transit, Sanitation, and Recycling Services will be on regular schedule throughout that week. Saturday, April 11th from 8 a.m. to noon, Lear Park, the City of Longview, and Keep Longview Beautiful. Ms. Droege will host Longview Green and Clean. The green of Longview Green and Clean is giving the community a chance to recycle junk and other items that usually go to the landfill. The clean part is a community-wide effort of volunteers that will work together to clean litter and beautify the areas where they live, work, or worship. For more information, call 903-237-1250 or register for litter collection. Email klb@longviewtexas.gov. Also, Saturday, April 11th, Longview Public Library invites you and your family to enjoy a day of exploration, entertainment, and learning as part of the Chautauqua That's a Cajun name, man. Festival. The event takes place from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For more information, call the library, 903, you couldn't pronounce it either, 903-237-1350. The anti-crime community event originally scheduled for April 11th has been postponed until a later date to allow for additional planning community input. For more information will be available soon. If you or your organization are interested in being involved, call Partners in Prevention, 903-237-1019. And last, I'm going to host my final town hall meeting at 7 o'clock Tuesday, April 14th in the theater at Spring Hill High School. That's kind of where I started, and that's where the count hall stuff started. So I thought it'd be a good last final going away, having a town hall meeting, and we invite everybody to please come out and share your thoughts, concerns, and ideas. Mr. City Manager, do you have anything tonight?
No, sir. Not tonight.
Okay. All right, anybody else? If not, meeting is adjourned.